Hello everyone, and welcome to Fresh Master Channel. Today, we are going to have some story from Reddit. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below. These simple clips mean a lot to the future of this channel.
I wrapped up breakfast, gave Jean a quick kiss goodbye, and headed out the door to start my day. As I was halfway out, Jean's voice rang out from the kitchen. "Hey, don't forget, we're supposed to have dinner with Pat and Andy tonight. Try not to be late, okay?" "I remember," I called back, not slowing my step. I'd already arranged for Mom to take the kids overnight. Figured it'd be nice for Jean and me to have an adult evening for once. Out in the garage, I hit the button for the door opener. It creaked and rolled up like always. I backed the car out slowly, pulled to the curb, then reached for the remote to close the garage. Clicked it once. Nothing. Clicked it again. Still nothing. I tried a third time. No dice. Muttering under my breath, I parked, got out, and headed back inside. I knew I had some spare 9 volts downstairs, and usually when the remote acts up, it's just the battery. Crossed the garage, opened the door back into the house, then froze in place. Jean's voice floated down the hall. She was laughing, light and carefree, on the phone. "The idiot's finally out the door," she said, her voice low and smug. "Can you stop by before work, or are you on a tight schedule?" A pause. "We're still good for dinner, right?" God, I love those moments. Sitting across from Frank and Pat, all sweet and normal, while you and I just served them another nice little helping of lies. Another pause. Then, "All right, love. See you in about 15. Click. The phone went quiet. I stood there in the doorway, heart hammering in my ears. The heat rose up in my chest like a wave. Every instinct in me wanted to storm in, flip the table, and scream in her face. But another voice in my head, quieter, colder, cut in. "Don't be an idiot. Not yet. Not until you know exactly what's going on." I eased the door shut, walked back to the car, and drove off, silent and seething. Didn't take a genius to figure out who she'd been talking to. "See you in 15? It had to be Andy, Pat's husband, Jean's best friend's guy. As I drove, the gears in my brain turned faster than the tires. I wasn't about to make a scene without having the full picture, so I started putting a plan together. First stop once I got to work, my office phone. I called up Alan Audette, closest thing I ever had to a brother. We'd grown up side by side. These days, he ran a private security firm. My dad helped bankroll it when Alan came back from the service. When he picked up, I skipped the small talk. "Alan, I need a favor. I think Jean's cheating. I need confirmation." There was a beat of silence. Then he asked, "What do you want me to do?" "I need someone in the house tonight. I'll keep her out for a while. We're having dinner with the 2 people likely involved." "I'll stop by and pick up the spare key," Alan said immediately. "And Frank, I'm real sorry. I always thought you and Jean were the real deal." "Yeah, me too," I replied, my voice flat. "You gonna be able to sit through dinner without choking the guy?" he asked. "Barely, but I'll manage," I said. "You just need to play it smooth tonight. Act your part. Gather the evidence, then hit back hard," he said. "Easier said than done," I muttered and hung up. I grabbed a legal pad and started sketching out a step-by-step. First item, intel. Covered that by calling Alan. Second, secure the financials. I wasn't going to touch our joint checking account yet. That would set off alarms. But I was going to shut down the savings account and transfer every cent into one under my name only. I'd also open a new safety deposit box, one Jean wouldn't have access to. Important documents, certificates, personal items. I'd move anything I didn't want her laying her hands on. I couldn't stop her from claiming a cut of our shared property. That was unavoidable. But the biggest piece of my life was untouchable. When Jean and I got married, she signed a prenuptial agreement. No access to the family business, period. The company was started by my great-grandfather, handed to my grandfather, then to my dad, and eventually to me. It was always meant to stay in the family, and the prenup made sure of that. The third item on the list was a single word I wrote in block letters: payback. I didn't need to write details. I'd figure those out later. But I made myself a promise. It was going to be cold, precise, and merciless. Just as I folded the notepad and put it in my drawer, Kathy poked her head in. "Hey, boss, you've got that lunch with John Crossfire today," she reminded me. "Right," I said, blinking out of my storm cloud. "You want to come? Take notes." "Sure," she said with a small smile. Crossfire might be worth pulling into the company. Kathy had been with me for a couple of years now. I hired her the moment she walked into the interview room. Didn't even care if she could spell. She was jaw-dropping, and I wanted her sitting across from me in that office every damn day. Turned out she was more than just looks. She was sharp, organized, and always 3 steps ahead. Honestly, if I dropped dead, she could run the show without blinking. As she turned to head out, I found myself watching her. And for the first time, a thought crossed my mind. She could probably take Jean's place. And not just in the house. Kathy was the only woman who ever made me even think about stepping outside my marriage. She was smart, sharp, and looked like she stepped out of a magazine. Still, I'd always kept it clean. Until lately. I caught myself before the thought could stick. Just because Jean had no morals didn't mean I had to lose mine. She could sink all she wanted. I wasn't going down with her. I wrapped up work early that day, about 30 minutes ahead of schedule like Jean had asked. When I walked in, she greeted me like everything was perfect. "There you are," Jean said, smiling like sunshine. "Right on time. I'm ready whenever you are." She leaned in and kissed me. Same soft lips, same practiced warmth. She was dressed to eliminate, hair done, perfume just right. She looked like the woman I married. But I couldn't unsee her anymore. I smiled back, said, "You look great," and grabbed my jacket. My role tonight was simple. Act like nothing was wrong. Pretend we were still the happy couple everyone thought we were. Dinner was just like every other night we'd spent with Pat and Andy over the years. Only this time, I wasn't the fool anymore. Not the blind guy smiling through the lie. I watched everything. Jean sat next to me in the booth. Andy sat directly across from her. Pat was beside him, chatting like always. Then I noticed Jean's leg twitch under the table. Just a little bounce, subtle. At the same moment, Andy gave a quiet smirk. "Something funny?" Pat asked Andy, raising an eyebrow. Andy shrugged. "Just thinking about the work," he said casually. Jean didn't say a word, just looked down at her drink like she was bored. But I saw it, the silent exchange, the timing. If I hadn't overheard that call, I wouldn't have given it a second thought. After dinner, we hit a bar downtown, the Black Hole. Drinks, music, dancing. Jean and Andy paired up, swaying slow. Nothing overt, just enough to keep up appearances. While I danced with Pat, she leaned in close and said, "You ever notice how well those two get along?" Her voice was half playful, half curious. "Yeah," I said with a straight face. "Real well." I held her a little tighter, wondering if she had any clue. Could she even imagine her best friend, a friend she'd known since 2nd grade, was the one sleeping with her husband? She'd know eventually. I'd make sure of that. The next morning at the office, Kathy waved me down the moment I walked in. "Alan called," she said, holding out a sticky note. "Said to call him back when you've got a second." I called right away. Alan picked up quick. "Morning," Alan said. "We got a little bonus last night." "What kind of bonus?" I asked, already tense. "I saw a phone charging on the kitchen counter," he said. "Figured it was Jean's. You never leave yours lying around. I went ahead and dropped a bug in it." "You bugged her phone?" I asked. "Yeah, that makes 3. The house line, her car, and now her cell. Also, I need to show you where the camera toggle is in your bedroom in case you want to shut it off for, privacy." "Everything live?" I asked. "Crystal clear," Alan said. "Motion and audio triggers. The feeds stream to my office setup. Nothing gets missed." "Appreciate it," I said. "Of course," he replied. "If nothing big drops during the week, how about lunch on Fridays? I'll keep you in the loop." "Sounds good," I said. "Talk soon." That week blurred past. I wore the loving husband mask like a damn professional. On Friday, I met Alan for lunch, and he handed me a fat envelope. "Nothing too wild," he said, "but they've been getting real cozy, having lunch in your bedroom. From what I'm seeing, this thing's been going on for a long time." "How long exactly?" I asked. "Hard to say," Alan said. "You might catch some dates or hints on the recordings. The good news is there's no talk of knocking you off, but the divorce thing? Yeah, that came up. Both of them." "Any details?" I pressed. "Not really, just vague talk. Sounds like that they're waiting on something money-related. But don't stress. You've got that prenup locked tight." "She can't touch the business," I said. "Exactly," Alan replied. "She's telling him you're insecure, by the way. Said that little moment last week, when you stood your ground, was just some alpha male thing. They think you're clueless." "And your next move?" he asked. "I wait," I told him. "Need more first. I can keep digging. Want me to send you the home footage? Phones and car stuff are trickier to forward." "Send it all to the office," I said. "No way I'm letting Jean find anything at home." He reached into his bag and slid a little box across the table. "These are purse bugs," Alan said. Most women swap between 2 or 3 bags. Hide a couple. You'll get something eventually. Back at the office, I shut the blinds, pulled the AV card in, and told Kathy not to disturb me unless the building was on fire. The first batch of audio, mostly fluff. Miss you. This, can't wait to see you. That. The one surprise? Jean never trashed me. Not once. That messed with my head a little. Still, hearing her giggle and call me the big dummy on one of those calls, that cut deeper than I expected. I still had no clue how this started, no real timeline. But I was getting closer. The weekend came and went. We went camping with the kids, roasted marshmallows, slept in a tent, took pictures like nothing was broken, like none of this was real. Monday, I was swamped. Couldn't even glance at the footage. Tuesday, I had a quick flight out and back. No time to check on her. Wednesday, I peeked at the feed here and there. Nothing unusual, but Thursday, that's when I caught them, on camera, in my bedroom, getting dressed. They'd just finished. No sound, but the picture was crystal. Jean wanted to be close that night, of course, and I finally saw the pattern. She always came to me after Andy, like I was the cool-down round, the afterthought, the leftovers. Over lunch, Alan stirred his coffee and said, "Pretty uneventful week. Like you figured, they met up Tuesday, and looks like they saw each other Monday, too." I leaned back in the booth. "How long do we keep this up?" "I've had time to cool off, but this is starting to feel like circles." "I get it," Alan said. "But maybe we'll catch something that gives you a start date. Or maybe find out what money they're waiting on to finally pull the trigger. Give it another couple weeks. If nothing surfaces, we shut it down." That night, Jean came on to me again, just like clockwork. I took it as a signal she'd been with Andy. Saturday, she said she needed to do some clothes shopping and asked if I could hang back with the kids. "Would you mind staying with them while I run out for a bit?" she asked, grabbing her purse. "Not at all," I told her. Turned out to be a good day. I spent real time with the kids, made pancakes, watched movies. She got home around 7, bags in hand. I figured she probably did shop. But later that night, she climbed into bed and came at me again. And I had doubts she'd spent the whole day inside fitting rooms. Ever since I'd found out about her and Andy, I hadn't initiated anything. I let her lead, let her think I was still in it. I figured at some point she might notice. And if she did, maybe she'd pause for a second. Maybe not. Either way, I knew I'd have to take the lead every now and then to keep up the act. So Sunday night, I made a move. "Not tonight, babe," Jean said, slipping out of my reach. "Rough day. I just want to soak in the tub and turn off my brain." That was new. First time she'd ever shut me down like that. Later that night, when the whole house was asleep, I did something I'd been putting off. Quiet as a whisper, I went into each of the kids' rooms and swabbed their cheeks. First thing Monday, I dropped the samples off at the lab, paid for a rush on the DNA test. That evening, Jean got affectionate again, and I had a good guess why. Next morning, Alan called me up. "We've got something," he said. "They met yesterday. You're going to want to see this. I'll send it over at 10:15. I grabbed the disc when it arrived and headed to the conference room. Fired up the AV system. The video wasn't much to look at, just the two of them getting dressed. But the audio? Gold. Jean yanked her shirt over her head, tossed it on the bed. "How much longer we gotta drag this crap out?" Andy didn't even look up. "Same as before. Pat ain't touching that trust fund till she hits 35. We still got, what, 2 years?" Jean flopped down on the edge of the bed. "Any news from your end?" Andy scoffed. "Frank's daddy's still sitting on the throne like he's king of the damn world, ain't handing over nothing." "That old fool's got more gas in the tank than Frank ever did," Jean muttered. Andy rubbed his jaw. "Yeah, until you can grab a chunk of that company, we sit tight and wait for Princess Pat's payday." Jean lit a cigarette, took a long drag. "Why don't we just blow this crap up now? I file, grab full custody, stay in the house till the kids grow up, squeeze them for alimony and half the assets. We still come out fat." Andy's voice dropped. "I ain't leaving $5 million on the table, Jean. We waited 6 damn years. We're 20 months from the prize. Don't lose your head now." Jean exhaled smoke slow, eyes narrowed. "Luck like this, don't stick around forever, one wrong step and it all falls apart. I want out while I still got the upper hand." Andy leaned back, arms behind his head. "Then start praying Frank's daddy croaks or retires. If Frank gets the reins, boom, his net worth doubles. And guess what? So does your cut when you bounce." Jean flicked ash on the floor. "Still think we're pushing it? Too much can go wrong?" Andy smirked. And yet nothing has. We're fine, babe. Don't screw it up now. I hit pause on the video and leaned back, rubbing my jaw. That's when I saw her, Kathy, standing in the doorway. Sorry, boss, she said, holding her hands up. Didn't mean to sneak up on you. Door was open. Just came to remind you about your Apex meeting. How long were you standing there? I asked, turning to face her fully. Pretty much since it started, Kathy said. I was going to walk out, but I couldn't stop watching. You've known? For longer than I wanted to, she said quietly. This stays between us? You know me, she said, locking eyes. I'm with you. If you were in my place, what would you do? I asked. Anything you needed, Kathy said. Say the word. Thanks, I said. I pulled the disc from the tray and stared at it. A plan was forming. It wasn't airtight, not yet, but I could make it work. A week later, Thursday afternoon, I stopped by the lab. Results were in. Both kids were mine. I stood in the parking lot holding the envelope, and everything around me went quiet. That clarity changed everything. It was like someone flipped a switch. I wasn't going for the scorched earth route. I'd go around the back, quiet, precise. I'd make them feel it without seeing it coming. The hardest part would be getting to Pat without tipping off either of them. Luckily, she worked at a company we did business with. I'd used that connection a few times to drop in. I pulled into Milford Manufacturing just after 11, chatted up Marv in purchasing for 5 minutes, then walked down to Pat's office. Lunch with me today? I asked, trying to sound normal. Sure, she said, a little surprised. Where to? I smiled. You'll see. Her eyebrows knit in confusion when I pulled into our office parking lot. Wait, aren't we eating? She asked. We are, I said, just not the way you think. Inside, I led her straight into the conference room. I turned to Kathy on the way in. No interruptions, no matter what, I said. She gave a single nod. I closed the door behind Pat and looked at her. I hate that I have to do this, I said quietly. You might never speak to me again after this, but I can't keep it to myself anymore. Pat looked confused. What are you talking about? Because messengers never last long, I said, especially the ones carrying this kind of news. She blinked. Messenger? Yeah, I said. I'm the one bringing the bad kind, the worst kind. I slid a disc into the player. The screen lit up. There they were, her husband, her best friend. Pat's face went blank. This has to be a joke, right? I shook my head slowly. Then I changed discs. I've got 3 weeks of this. I wouldn't have told you if I didn't have to, but yesterday changed everything, and you deserve to know. I handed her the disc Alan had given me, the one with the conversation. Pat just stood there, eyes locked on it, face hard. Didn't blink for a good 10 seconds. Then her voice cracked low, like something finally snapped. That miserable piece of crap, she muttered. That lying fool, I should have seen it. She shook her head like trying to make sense of it. Her hands were clenched tight. And her voice dropped even more. Jesus, I would have taken a damn bullet for that woman. No questions, just bam, without thinking. Then she broke. She dropped her head into her hands and started sobbing like her whole world had cracked in half. I wrapped my arms around her, trying to steady her. There was no fixing what I'd just broken open. I knew exactly what she was feeling. I'd been there myself. This is brutal, I said softly. I know. But now comes the real question. What are we going to do with this? What are you going to do? I exhaled, then admitted, I was thinking about just writing it out, letting it all slide until the kids are grown. If I leave her now, she'll get primary custody, and I'll be the dad who gets weekends. Meanwhile, that fool Andy gets to play house with my kids. Pat looked up at me, confused. Wait, what does this have to do with me? I met her eyes and said, once I heard what they were planning for you, I couldn't sit on it anymore. I had to tell you while you still had time to act. What are you talking about? She asked slowly. You've got nearly 2 years before that trust kicks in. I don't know what your heart wants. Maybe you still have feelings for that lying piece of trash. But now you know what he's doing behind your back. That video gives you a head start. If you file before the money shows up, he doesn't get a cent of it. She shook her head. If I divorce Andy, then Jean slides in officially? And you can't act like you don't know anymore? You'll lose the kids. Maybe, I said, or maybe not. What does that mean? She asked, suspicious. It means if you don't touch the stuff I've already gathered, Jean won't know I figured it out, I explained. We hire a PI, track Andy's next move. The second he and Jean meet again, we let the investigator tail them and gather more proof. You hit him with it. I paused, then added, and you can tell Jean you're not going to tell me anything because you don't want to hurt me or the kids. That keeps my cover intact until I'm ready to burn her down. Of course, I said, shrugging. There's always a chance that won't work. Maybe she says screw me and leaves anyway. Or maybe she shows up crying, begging for another shot, blaming stress or whatever. If that happened, I'd probably play along, I said bitterly. At least until the kids were old enough to leave. I leaned back and sighed. Truth is, I don't know how long I would have kept quiet if I hadn't heard what Andy had planned for you. Pat looked at me. How did you even catch them? I told her about the phone call I'd overheard, how everything unraveled from there. She rubbed her temples. God, I just wish I knew when it all started. I caught something on a clip. Said 6 years, I told her. Pat clenched her fists. 6 years? That lying, backstabbing witch? Pretending to be my best friend while screwing my husband? She checked her watch and stood up. I've got to get back to the office, but I'm hiring a private investigator. I'll be in touch. I nodded. If I find anything new, it's yours. The next few weeks rolled by quietly. Twice, Jean asked me to watch the kids while she ran errands, and both times she was all over me in bed later that night. In those 3 weeks, we only slept together twice when she hadn't seen Andy that day, and those times, I had to initiate. Each time she hesitated, said, I'm not really in the mood. And each time I replied, guess I've got to tap into that alpha side again. Then she gave in. By the third week, I got the call I was waiting for. I've got what I need, Pat said. Turns out you were right. They've been sneaking around on weekends. My guy didn't get footage from inside the motel, but he got them kissing, hugging, holding hands. Even caught him going in and out of your place. Got some clear shots through your living room window, too. I'm seeing a lawyer this afternoon, she added. Once I get the subpoena, you're probably going to hear some fun audio. And with that, it was time for my next move. That night at dinner, I set the trap. We need to talk about money, I told John. Business is rough. The economy's squeezing us. They cut my pay by 1/3. We're going to have to make some adjustments. She looked concerned, but didn't say much, just nodded. I called the bank, I continued. We might need to take out a second mortgage. It's tight. Could be a while before things bounce back. That night, for the first time since I found out about her and Andy, she didn't come on to me, and I knew she'd spent a solid 3 hours with him that afternoon. 2 days later, Pat called again. It's go time, she said. A friend's setting up a fake real estate meeting with Andy. He's getting served at 3 p.m. I'm coming to your house at the same time. She paused, then added, I'm going to give her one chance not to ruin your kids' lives. If she takes it, you'll have more time to play your hand. I called Alan, gave him the rundown, and asked him to monitor everything. By Thursday, I couldn't wait any longer. At 3 o'clock, I sat at my desk and watched the live feed. John was straightening up around the house, acting like it was just another day. Then the doorbell rang. Jean opened the door with that fake A smile, like she was about to invite Pat in for wine and gossip. Crack! Pat's hand came down hard, smacking Jean across the face so viciously she stumbled back and grabbed the wall. You two-faced freaking witch! Pat roared, shoving past her like a storm. You've been screwing my husband and smiling in my face like we're still best friends. You didn't even try to lie! Jean stood there, stunned, eyes wide, lips parted, silent like a deer in headlights. Pat was shaking, voice raw and laced with venom. Had a PI on Andy for 2 weeks. I've got him on tape, Jean. Hotels, your place, 6 times 6. And you didn't even close the goddamn curtains while you played homewrecker in your living room. Jean tried to speak, but nothing came out. Pat stepped in closer, nose to nose. You're dead to me. You hear me? When I walk out that door, you're a freaking ghost. She spun on her heel, headed for the door, then stopped cold and turned back. I should ruin you. Drag you through court, shred what's left of your name, tear your life to pieces. But I got more respect for your husband and your kids than you ever did. Her voice dropped, cold and deadly. So here's your one shot. Talk to Andy. Tell him not to fight this divorce. If he does, I hand Frank everything. Every video, every receipt, every dirty little secret. She stared her down one last time, jaw clenched. I still can't freaking believe you did this to me. Then she turned, slammed the door behind her, and was gone. Jean rushed to the window, stared out as Pat drove away. Her whole body sagged. You could see it hit her. She hadn't just lost her lover. She'd lost her oldest friend. And I sat there watching, wondering if she finally understood what she'd thrown away. When she started hooking up with Andy after his divorce, she probably thought she could have both, me and him, her family and her thrill. She never imagined it would end like this, but she should have. I shut off the live feed and went back to my desk. No point in listening to just her side of every phone call. I needed the full picture, and I didn't have to wait long. At 4:40, Alan called. "I've got something you're going to want to hear," he said. "Sending it your way right now." 20 minutes later, I was sitting in the dark, listening to Jean and Andy like I was on the other end of a confession booth. "Hello?" Jean said, voice shaky. "It's me. We've got a problem." "I know," Andy replied calmly. "You know? Pat showed up about 30 minutes ago. She knows everything." "She knows?" Jean repeated. "She served me with divorce papers," he said. "Restraining order, too." Jean didn't skip a beat. "Then get ready to meet Frank. If she knows, she'll tell him." "Maybe she won't," Andy muttered. "She hit me," Jean said. "But then she said she'd stay quiet. If I could convince you not to fight the divorce." "I'm not fighting," Andy said. "What's the point? She's got photos, videos. She's got me dead to rights." Jean exhaled. "All I know is, she said if I can talk you out of a fight, she won't tell Frank." "She could be lying," Andy said, "just buying time. So when Frank finds out, it'll hit like a truck." "Maybe, but it changes everything," Jean said. "How so?" Jean paused. "Now we don't have to wait around for Pat's trust fund. Now we focus on how to bleed Frank for every dollar we can." "Won't be easy," Andy warned. "Rob told me Frank's paycheck got cut. Sounds like the company's hurting." "He's talking about refinancing the house," Jean added. "Bank meetings, cash flow problems." Andy sighed. "This screws everything. I was counting on Pat's money. You getting something from Frank. Now we're stuck. I barely make enough to keep my car," he said. "Real estate's tanked. Listings are dry." Jean's voice lowered. "I guess I'll have to stay with Frank for a while, until something changes." "Call me later," Andy said. "Can I see you tomorrow?" "I'm not sure," she answered. "Without Pat's money, I've got to hustle. Start pushing listings again. Things aren't like they were." "We'll figure it out," Andy said. "Just give me some time." I shut the disc off and grinned. Game on. Alan had always said he had contacts, guys who didn't just skirt the line, but stomped across it for the right price. So I called him up. "I need a favor," I told him. "It's doable," he said. "Give me a couple of hours." 3 hours later, I was sitting in the back room of a dive bar on the east side, sealing the deal. It cost me $2,000, worth every cent. After that, I rang Pat and gave her a heads up. Then I drove home. Knowing Jean hadn't seen Andy that day, I decided to test the waters. "Not tonight, Frank," she said as I reached for her. "I've had a rough day." I sat back and looked at her. "You know what? I'm done begging. Keep it. Let it collect dust." I grabbed a pillow and headed down the hall, slept on the leather couch in my office. I'd return to our bed the next night, but Zex with Jean, that was done. If she wanted it again, she'd have to crawl for it. Still, I wasn't finished. Not even close. Next morning, on my way to the office, I stopped and grabbed one of those back-of-the-paper rags. You know, the kind with the escort listings. I was halfway through a short list when my phone rang. It was my dad. "Swing by my office," he said. I took the elevator to the 4th floor. Myrna waved me in, and to my surprise, my mom was already seated inside. "You ready to run a company?" my dad asked as I walked in. "Why? What's going on?" I asked, confused. "We're heading out Friday night," he said. "Cruise. 3 weeks, maybe 5, maybe 6. You were fine during my last vacation. This time it's all yours. You'll handle decisions, manage fires, take the wheel. You in?" "When do I start?" I asked. "Friday night, soon as we're in the air." "Well then," I said, "since you're both here, I should bring you up to speed." I told them about Jean, about the lie I'd been feeding her, that the company was in financial trouble, that my paycheck had been slashed. "When she's around," I said, "I need you to keep up the story. I'm trying to make sure she thinks a divorce is worthless." "But the company's thriving," Dad said. "I know," I told him. "I just want to keep the kids with me. Stay under the radar until they're old enough to decide for themselves." "We'll help," he said. "Whatever you need." "I can't believe Jean would pull this," my mom added quietly. "I always thought she was good to you." My dad leaned forward. "Who's handling your department while you run the company?" I'm thinking about giving Kathy the wheel, I said. You think she's ready for that? He asked. She hasn't had a shot like this, I admitted. But you said I'm in charge now, so I'm making the call. Back at my desk, Kathy followed me in. Her eyes landed on the escort section lying open on my desk. She raised an eyebrow. Really? I shrugged. She's been giving me the cold shoulder for weeks. I'm done playing husband of the year. So now you're replacing her with a professional? Kathy asked. Half right, I said. I dumped her. Why go to an escort? Because I've got needs, I said. I don't do bars. I don't do flings. I want clean and simple. She smirked. You ever think maybe the solution's closer? I looked at her. Oh? I said. And what's that supposed to mean? She tilted her head. You'll figure it out. I did. Took me less than a second. It took me a few more to get up, walk to the door, and quietly lock it. By the time I clicked the lock behind me, Katie was already stretched out across my desk, breathless, hair wild. When it was over, we straightened up and started dressing in silence. I finally asked, Why now? Katie smoothed her shirt and said, I've had a thing for you since day one. I wanted you so badly I could barely stand it. But you were married. Happily, I thought. I'm not the type to break up someone's home, so I stayed quiet. She glanced at the desk and smirked. Although next time, maybe get a couch in here. That thing's brutal on the spine. So this wasn't a one-time thing? I asked. I sure hope not, she said. You thinking long-term, like future Mrs. Englewood? She laughed. Let's not jump the gun. We clearly have chemistry. Insane chemistry, but outside of work. I barely know you. This was a beginning. I want to see where it goes. I wouldn't count on anything serious, I said. It might take a decade to legally shake the current Mrs. Englewood. Right now, I'm planning to stay married until the kids are old enough to make their own choices. I won't lose them in a court battle. Katie raised an eyebrow. 10 years, huh? Should be enough time to figure out if we're compatible or not. When can we do this again? I asked. She grinned. Not here, that's for sure. And I've got a few things to clean up in my personal life before we move this somewhere else. Besides, you're about to be a little busy. Busy with what? I asked. Because, she said, tapping my chest with a playful finger, as of Friday at 4 p.m., you're putting me in charge of your department. I explained the upcoming transition, how my parents were heading out and leaving me to run the company. Katie just blinked, stunned. You really think I can do this? She asked. I wouldn't be giving you the shot if I didn't, I told her. If you pull it off, and I think you will, you'll probably run the whole division permanently once I step up. Damn, she whispered. This is a lot. You're gonna ruffle feathers, I added. Some folks think they've earned it just by sticking around, but none of them have your fire. Handle your business and I'll have your back. Katie went quiet for a second, then smiled and said, You've never been to my place. Want to see my art collection? Art, huh? I asked. She winked. Nope, no art. But it got your attention. How about tomorrow? She asked. We leave work a little early. Take our time. You got yourself a deal, I said. That night at home, Jean had dinner ready. We barely talked, just polite nods and comments about the kids' day. Afterward, I helped Marianne with her homework, then headed to the basement where Jamie was putting the finishing touches on a model aircraft carrier. Once the kids were in bed, I sat in my office going through contracts. When I finally came upstairs, Jean was already in bed. I slipped under the covers and turned away from her. That got her attention. Usually, if we didn't hook up, I still held her. But she didn't make a move. I figured she wouldn't. Andy hadn't been by. And if everything played out like I hoped, she wouldn't be starting anything again anytime soon, not without her little sidekick to warm her up first. As for me, I was done trying. The next day, Katie and I dipped out early and went to her place. No art on the walls, but plenty of distractions. I didn't leave until 8 p.m. I called Jean from the car. Working late, I said. Don't wait up. When I got home, I spent some time with the kids, watched a show, then headed to bed. Same setup as the night before. No touching, and I hadn't checked the security feeds, but I didn't need to. Jean didn't try anything. Next morning, around 10, my phone buzzed. Pat. Frank, she said, her voice soft. Thank you, I needed this. My heart's still broken, but at least I'm breathing again. I don't know what you mean, I said, playing dumb. But if you ever want to grab dinner, just say the word. I'd like that, she said. I'll call you soon. About 30 minutes later, Alan called. It's done, he said simply. I know, I replied. Got a call from his wife. Yeah, Alan chuckled. She probably got the hospital call right after. I don't want details, I said. I'd rather hear it when it goes public. Fair enough, he said. But word is, guy got jumped, tried to fight back. Big mistake. What happened? 2 shattered knees, busted elbow, broken nose, several teeth gone, and they hit him in the jewels hard enough he's probably down one. Brutal, I said flatly. Tragic, Alan replied, laughing. Total tragedy. That night at dinner, I casually said, I saw Pat today. Jean's fork paused midair. I stopped by Milford, I continued. Chatted with purchasing, grabbed dinner with Pat. Invited her and Andy to a barbecue Sunday. Jean stayed quiet. She didn't mention she kicked him out, I asked. I thought I did, Jean said quickly. Must have slipped my mind. I just don't get it, I said. Pat's amazing, smart, funny, beautiful. And Andy cheats on her? I'd love to know what he thought he was getting. Jean said nothing. She said no to the barbecue, I added. First time she's ever turned down an invite. Must be hurting bad. She say who the other woman was? No, I said. She couldn't even talk about it. Well, I said, stabbing a piece of chicken, truth always comes out. After dinner, I played Monopoly with the kids. Later, I cracked open a book and read until it was time to sleep. Jean climbed into bed after me. She tried to snuggle close. I turned away and muttered, good night. That morning, I told Jean some guy from TPM was flying in for contract talks. Said I'd probably grab lunch with him. Don't wait up. Total lie. I took Kathy to dinner, then dessert, her place. A lot of dessert. Friday, I met Alan for lunch. He handed me a CD. Not much, he said. Like a dozen calls. She kept begging him to come over. He blew her off every time. Last 2 days, radio silence. She called the office, his cell, nothing. Guess now she knows why. I told her this morning he's in the hospital. Alan smirked. Said Pat must have tipped off the other woman's husband, dude snapped. Not far from the truth, he added. Husband was behind it. We both laughed. So what now? He asked. That's Jean's move, I said. I'm not telling her I know. I'll live with her till the kids turn 18. Then she's out. Or maybe she walks first. Wasn't happy enough to stay loyal. Might not be happy enough to stick around. If she tries to screw me, I've got the audio, the video. She'll sign the divorce papers I want, or it all goes public. No clue how it ends. Just gotta wait. Well, good luck, Alan said. Want me to pack up the gear? Leave it. Keep watching. If she does anything wild, I want to know. If not, see you next Friday. Later that day, I met with my dad. He caught me up on the business. At 5 o'clock, he stood up. It's yours now, Frank. I'll pop back when your mom kicks me out, which might be never. After he left, I called my old office, asked Kathy to stop by. Myrna was gone, so no one would notice. Plus, I was the boss now. She was a department head, looked normal. She walked in. You called, boss? Yeah, something's missing in here. Thought a woman's touch might help. She glanced around. The walls are kind of dull. That's it? I said. That's your big idea? She shrugged. I'm disappointed, Kathy. The real issue is, I grinned. You've never been on that table. She smiled, started undoing her blouse. At home, Jean looked tense. Her lover's in the hospital. She had to be thinking, if Pat did that to Andy, what might she do to me? I played dumb. After dinner, hung with the kids. We planned a trip to the amusement park for tomorrow. That night, Jean got in bed without a word. I followed. No touching, no nothing. Next morning, she bailed on the park, said she felt sick. I took the kids, we had a blast. Came home, she wasn't there. Showed up later with pizza. Didn't feel like cooking, she said. Still sick, going to bed. The next 5 days, cold, civil, like roommates. Only talked about dinner, chores, trash. Friday lunch, Alan gave me another CD. Nothing big. She visited him in the hospital. No video, just audio. She cried leaving. They're worried. Didn't think Pat'd go nuclear. They were guessing who did the damage. He grinned. Good news, maybe. He told her they're screwed if she doesn't get some money from you. He lost his health coverage. Wife dropped him. Now he's broke, in pain, and uninsured. Jean cried a lot at home, but that's it. I don't think she's getting a dime. Tonight, I said, I'm telling her we're cutting the household budget by 1/3, or she can give up her car, her pick. Already told her my pay got slashed. More cuts coming. How long you keeping this up? Alan asked. As long as she stays, she can walk, but I'm holding out till the kids can choose where to live. Good luck, Alan said, again. Back home, I didn't waste time. You talked to Pat? I asked. Jean didn't even look up. No, I frowned. No? You're glued to her damn phone calls every day. She's probably falling apart over Andy. She needs space, Jean snapped. I know her better than you do. Yeah, cool. Doesn't matter. We've got our own shitstorm. Budget's getting cut by a third. Her face twisted. That's not even possible. It is, I shot back. Lose the car, bam. There's a third, insurance, gas, lease, gone. I need that car, she said, voice getting sharp. Then cut somewhere else. We don't make what we used to. Grow up and deal with it. She blinked like I'd slapped her. I don't get it. That's when I lost it. Jesus, John, we're not living in some fantasy anymore. We're broke. This is real life. Quit witching and pray the company doesn't go under next. I stormed downstairs. Needed space. Needed air that didn't reek of denial. Came back an hour later. What's for dinner? I asked, calmer now. Jean barely looked at me. Thought we could go out. I barked a laugh. Go out? Go out? Were you even listening earlier? Her arms crossed, stubborn. I stepped in close. Budget, Jean, say it with me. Budget, budget, budget. Welcome to the new normal. She ran off crying. I smiled, started making dinner. Dinner was simple. I called the kids in, we sat down, talked about school, cartoons, the usual. They asked where Mom was. She's not feeling great, I said, resting upstairs. After we cleaned up, I played with them a bit, roughhousing, reading, got them to bed. Then I went up. Jean was sitting on the edge of the bed, scrolling her phone, eyes red but defiant. You didn't have to come at me like that, she said, not even looking up. I crossed my arms. No, I didn't. But you pulled that, oh, let's eat out crap right after I told you we're on fumes. That told me you're still living in some fantasy. She finally looked at me, mouth tight. I just wanted a break, okay? One damn night. And I want a damn time machine, Jean, but here we are. I stepped closer. We got less money. That's not a debate. That's fact. We cut back, or we go under. Silence. Just the low hum of the fan. So I'll say it once more, I continued. It's the car or the household budget. Pick one. You've got till Sunday night. And if I don't, I met her eyes, cold. Then I'll make the call for you Monday morning. No discussion, no second chances. I slid into bed, turned my back to her, and smiled. I knew she'd choose the budget over the car. Still, part of me hoped she'd drag it out till Sunday, then I'd take the car Monday. Next morning, she was quiet at breakfast. I acted normal, chatted with the kids. What do you guys want to do today? I asked. No answer. How about the park? Jean, thinking I meant the amusement park, jumped in. I thought we were watching our spending. Perfect setup. The park's free, Jean. Swings, slides, jungle gym, no charge. Spent the afternoon at the park with the kids. Came home, knocked out some yard work. Dinner went fine. Kids were beat. Jean didn't say much. After dinner, I watched some TV, then headed to bed. She was already under the covers. Maybe asleep, maybe faking. Either way, it worked for me. Sunday morning, I told her I had to stop by the office, go over numbers, find ways to cut costs. An hour later, I was already knee-deep in Kathy. She kept whispering, "Do your best," in my ear. I was giving it a solid shot. That night, Jean finally spoke up. I'll keep the car. I'll figure out where to cut back. She was calm, which told me she wasn't happy I called her dead the other night, but not mad enough to start a war. As long as she stayed chill, I didn't have to pretend to want her. Monday morning, I hit the bank, opened a new account, just in my name, switched my paycheck over, then set it to send 2/3 back into the joint account, just enough to keep things looking normal. That afternoon, Kathy and I met some folks from Matheson Manufacturing at the Hilton. After the meeting, we went upstairs, spent an hour debriefing before heading back to the office. Just before I clocked out, Alan called. Got something you need to hear. Swing by? On my way, 10 minutes. At his shop, he took me straight to his office. Everything's from her purse, Mike, he said. She saw him Saturday and again yesterday. All about money. He's pushing, she's making excuses. Your pay cut, the new budget. He leaned in, eyes lit up. But today? Whole new twist. You're not going to believe this. He hit play. The speakers crackled, then her voice slid out. Calm, too calm. We got another option, she said. How much is he insured for? About $1 million, Andy replied, voice low. $500K he pays himself, and another $500,000 through work. You sure about the terms? I think both are double indemnity. Silence. Then her voice came back, cold, calculating. So if he kicks it in an accident, that's $2 million. Exactly, Andy said, no hesitation. We need him dead then, clean, fast. How do we even do that? He asked. She paused. We'll figure it out. Maybe your bright idea sparks something in me. Alan hit a stop on the recording. I'll send you the whole thing later, he said, but you needed to hear that part now. I just sat there, quiet, then said, yeah, this changes everything. The Russians called it wet work. Right then, I really wished I had someone like that on speed dial. Alan watched me, grabbed a pen, and scribbled something on a notepad. He slid it over, 20,000 each. I picked up the pen, added one word. Andy pushed it back. Do it, Alan smiled. Done. That night, I tried to keep it together, chatted with the kids at dinner, helped with homework, watched The Lion King. After the movie, tucked them in. Jean was already in bed, waiting. Back in the day, I'd have been all over that. Now, I just stared. Got in bed, rolled over, faced the wall. 5 minutes later, she got up, wandered around, came back, slid under the covers, didn't say a word. Fine by me. I barely slept. Got up early, dressed, left before she woke. IHOP for breakfast. Office after that. At 10 a.m., I called Pat. Lunch, over taco salad, I told her, I'm going to tell Jean about her and Andy. She didn't even flinch. I know you don't love her, but what about the kids? I think I'll keep them, I said. Jean's too into her comfy life. Andy can't give her anything. She'll fake it. She'll stay. And if she doesn't, I've got leverage. Oh yeah, what kind? All the video, all the audio. She doesn't play along. The world sees what she really is. How's your divorce going? He's not fighting. It'll be done in 3 months. We said goodbye. I went back to work. Told Jean I'd be working late. Took Kathy out instead. Ended up at her place. Dessert was sweet. Got home around midnight. Jean was out cold. Next morning, same deal. Up early, gone before she opened her eyes. That night, she was crying. I found out why when Alan called. Hey, just a heads up, your wife's friend's husband died. What happened? Nurse didn't clear an air bubble in his IV. Hit his heart. Done. Damn, I said. Bad luck. Yeah, maybe tell Jean so she can call and be supportive. I will. Thanks. Came home a bit late. Jean was waiting, pissed. You could have called, she snapped. That tone flipped a switch in me. Don't start, I said. I've had enough of this. When the kids go to bed, you and I are having a talk. Then I walked off and started doing the dishes. Left her standing there with her mouth open. 10 minutes after I put the kids to bed, I told Jean, living room now. When I walked in, she was already on the leather couch, legs crossed, like she didn't just set fire to our life. I didn't sit near her. I pulled up a chair at the table, arms crossed, voice flat. First off, I said, I know why you and Pat aren't speaking, and I know exactly who Andy was screwing behind the curtain. Her face twitched. First a flicker of panic, then stone cold. Witch didn't even try to deny it. Pat didn't sell you out, I said. She told me she'd keep her mouth shut if you got Andy to roll over for the divorce, but let's be clear, she didn't tell me crap. I told her. I grabbed the remote and hit play on the VCR. Her voice came through the speakers like poison, her and Andy, whispering, plotting, like I didn't exist. She went stiff. I let her sit with it, then fast-forwarded to the good part. Her talking with Andy about Pat's trust fund like it was pocket change. That was the moment I looped Pat in, I said. Why I didn't do it earlier, not your business, but I'm doing it now. I leaned in closer, dead calm. You've got 3 options. Pick one. Option 1, you pack your crap and you're gone by sunrise. I file. You walk away broke. I get the kids. You get a cheap apartment and maybe supervised visits if the judge is in a good mood. Option 2, you stay, but you ain't my wife anymore. You're the live-in help. You cook, you clean, you play mommy. Guest bedroom's yours. To the outside world, we're still Frank and Jean. But behind these walls, you're a ghost. Option 3, you get brave. You fight me, try to take the kids, try to get a slice. I hit play again. Her voice filled the room, casual as hell. Andy, so accidental passing? Jean, would solve a lot of problems. I paused the tape. That right there, conspiracy to commit homicide. In this state, that's 25 years minimum. While you rot, I raise the kids. By the time you get out, they won't even remember your name. I leaned back, voice low. I want your answer before I leave for work tomorrow. She stared at me, eyes glassy, mouth tight. I can't, she whispered. Can't what? I snapped. Tell him, she said. Andy's dead. He died last night in the hospital. I stared at her a beat. Then I smiled. Cold. Damn shame, I muttered. I was really looking forward to sending him back there, maybe with a few new holes in him. I stood, grabbed the disc from the VCR, slid it into my briefcase. But you know what really screwed me up? I said, turning back to her. It wasn't Andy. That snake was always going to be a problem. Nah, it was you. When he said I should die, you didn't even blink. You didn't say no. You didn't hesitate. You just nodded, like you'd been waiting to hear it. I pointed toward the stairs. Get out of this room. Move your crap to the guest bed. And don't forget, I want your answer in the morning. She got up and walked out, silent. I waited till I heard her door close upstairs. Then I dragged the dresser in front of mine, just in case she got cute in the middle of the night. Then I went to bed and slept like a damn king. In the morning, I found Jean at the kitchen table. No makeup, hair a mess, eyes red like she hadn't slept. I didn't say good morning, just walked past her, grabbed the pot, poured myself coffee. So, I said, taking a sip. What's the verdict? She didn't look at me. You already know, she muttered. Don't play games, I said. Spit it out. I'm not giving up my kids, she said, her voice low. And I'm not going to prison. I nodded, calm as a bomb with the pin halfway out. Smart move. We'll go over the rules tonight. Don't hold dinner. I'll be working late. I looked right at her, dead in the eyes. And Jean, don't be stupid. If I even think you're planning to grab the kids and run, I'll bury you. Legally, publicly, brutally. You get me? Yes, she said, barely audible. Work was great. Smooth meetings, no calls from home. Working late, of course, meant I spent a few hours at Kathy's place. Legs tangled, voices quiet, her telling me I deserved better. Maybe I did. Got home just past 9. Jean was on the couch watching TV like it was any other night. I didn't stop. Kitchen, I said, and headed to my room to drop my briefcase. By the time I walked into the kitchen, she was already sitting there. Same chair, same dead stare. I didn't sit. Here's how this works, I said. You keep being the picture-perfect mom. Keep this house clean. Keep the act going for the kids, friends, family, everyone. When I'm home, you smile and play house. Got it. She didn't respond, just looked at the table. Why separate bedrooms? I continued. Because I snore. That's the story. Stick to it. Your private life? Don't care. Just keep it in the shadows. You ever bring a man into this house again, even as a whisper, and it's over. I'll ruin you. You managed to fool me and Pat for 6 damn years, and so keeping it quiet shouldn't be a problem. I stepped closer. You follow the rules? You keep the perks, credit cards, bank access, the car. You lose me as a husband, but let's be honest, you never gave a damn about that anyway. Finally, she looked up. How long does this circus go on? She asked. Until the kids are grown, out of the house, then what? You toss me like trash? I shrugged. Who knows? 10 years is a long time. People die, people disappear. Anything can happen. She narrowed her eyes. What if I say screw it? Option 1, walk. Then walk, I said. And here's a bonus deal. $5,000 for every year you stay. You give me 5 years of peace, I'll buy you a new car to drive away in.